Welcome to Now to Next with Jason Averbook, the space where today's changemakers and tomorrow's visionaries collide. I'm Jason Averbook, and every episode we promise to unpack the ideas, technologies, and bold moves shaping the world we're all stepping into. Hey Jess, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Jason?
Or should I say JVB?
I know that's defaulted in this platform, which means I used it once and now I'm stuck with it.
Right, for those of you not watching on YouTube, but for those of you that are listening, I am Jason Averbook, and we have JVB with us today. When you can just have acronym as your name,
Uh-huh.
it's a good thing.
I guess.
It's like Prince.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, this goes way back to like my volleyball jersey in high school. I didn't even have my full last name. It was just JVB.
So, welcome.
Thank you.
So excited to have you, and you know that this concept of bringing amazing people to a community is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. So I'm so honored and so excited to have you as the first person that I'm having these types of conversations with. So, that first of all, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you. We get to talk to each other in formats like this all the time, but this is a different format, and I could not be more honored to help you launch this new series. It's so needed, and by that I mean deep, thoughtful, introspective conversations. I think there's a real craving for that. So I'm glad you're doing it.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. So, speaking of that, deep, thoughtful, craving, I want to start with you. And I want to start with, the stuff that, like, people read. Well, you're pretty much an open book. Like, people read you on LinkedIn, they read you on Substack, they see you speak at events and things like that. So, you're pretty much an open book, but a lot of people don't know who you are, like the backstory, the Dakota Territory, et cetera, et cetera. Can you just talk a little about yourself and how you got to where you are today as the JVB?
As the JVB. Yeah, I do choose, it's kind of ironic because I do value privacy quite a bit. And I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with social media for what it is and what it isn't, and how we use it, and is it really authentic? But for me, I think it's important. I think sharing our stories with each other is important. I think narrative, authentic narrative, and the power of storytelling is incredibly important. And so I do share. And not flippantly. It's not like an aside for me. I share stories that I think matter, and I think perspective, all of our individual perspectives matters a lot. And so when I share, it's so that people know where it comes from for me. And I have just as much interest in understanding where somebody else's perspective comes from for them. And I think I have always been like this. I think it's actually a little bit of a byproduct of where and how I grew up. I was a smart kid who grew up in small town, yes, small town North Dakota, rural North Dakota. I started reading at a really young age, and even like from the moment I started school, I was reading ahead of my class. I remember my teachers had to find advanced.
Overachiever,
I
overachiever.
really was. I was a kid who asked a lot of questions. I was always hungry for information, for the next book, for the next thing. My teachers, it was me. I actually felt quite proud of this because it was me and one other kid, Andy Berglund. We always got the advanced textbook, and we'd sit in the corner with the next, whatever everybody else was going to read next. I was always like asking the next set of questions, like what comes after this? What's the next book in this series? I don't know where that came from, but maybe the fact that I grew up where I didn't have a lot of access, or there weren't a lot of resources, or I didn't see a lot of diversity, of perspective, of different types of lived experiences, it just made me more curious about what was sort of beyond the walls of where I was learning and growing up. And I think that's cool. I mean, I think it's
Yeah,
cool.
no, I think it's awesome. And I mean, I'd love to push on it for a
Yeah.
second. Like, how do you feel that's impacted how you lead? Like that listening, that ability to listen, that ability to watch, but then how you lead. Because you lead functions, you lead an industry from a thought leadership standpoint, you lead nonprofits.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, how does that impact, how does all that listening and learning, how do you think that comes across on the other side to people?
Well, I think curiosity is a very powerful skill. If we don't have it naturally, I think it's something we can craft. I really do.
Really? You don't think it's born? You think it, I mean, you don't think it's only innate?
I think it's a little bit of nature and nurture, to be
Okay.
honest. You could be naturally curious, but I think you can build and cultivate that skill in yourself too. And I think we need more of that authentic curiosity about the world around us. We've never lived, I honestly don't think we have ever lived in more polarizing times than right now. And this is also a timeline of history where we have incredible opportunity, incredible technology at our fingertips. This is a huge design opportunity to fundamentally change the way people experience the world around us, society, the workplace. This is a huge policy shaping moment because of all of the things that are happening. And I fear that if we're not more curious, if we don't learn to ask better questions, not just flip out answers from the deck of cards we already have. I get that everybody feels like they're holding a deck of cards and they know how to play their hand. You don't. Trust me, you don't. And so I wish we could all learn to cultivate a little bit more curiosity about perspectives we don't understand, experiences we've never had, how other people experience or want to experience their lives, drive outcomes that are suitable for them. And so I think as a leader and as a person who thinks about system design and how we shape tools to help people, I kind of go back to that childlike curiosity I always had when I didn't know much, but I wanted to know a lot about the world. Um,
No, I
we'll,
think
we'll
that's
get
great.
into some of those leadership opportunities, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I mean, as you were speaking there, I was filling in the blank. You said, "I think we're living in the most X time." You know, and we could have filled in 50 words. I
Yep.
didn't know which word you were going to say. You chose polarizing, but then later on you said exciting, technically innovative, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of those things cause, well, they can cause burnout.
Mm.
And something that you wrote not long ago that I
Yeah.
found interesting is you wrote this quote, which, you know, I love re quoting you. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. And I think a lot of people are feeling burnt out in
Yeah.
politics, in life, in changes at work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Can you expand on that? Because I think it also emotes that leadership discussion as well.
Yeah. Burnout is interesting. I think it's a little bit of a cultural, for sure, we have to put a cultural wrapper around this because unfortunately in America, burnout is a badge of honor. We slave over work, the number of hours worked, the number of units produced. Like we don't take
How many times
holidays.
you go to the office and actually badge in and badge out for the
Yes,
return to office policies?
for
Yes.
sure. Like how much time you put in, how hard you work, measured not in impact, but in hours of the day, and burning the midnight oil, and even presenteeism, have getting your being seen in the office, visibly recognized by leadership. We wear all of this like a badge of honor, and we don't really think about impact of what we're doing, just churning, just burn and churn. And so So I think that's a little bit cultural for sure for American workers. And I also think it's just how we've designed work. Remember, a lot of the ways that we work, a lot of the things that we just accept out of default to be true are old considerations for how work used to be done. Henry Ford invented the 9 to 5 Monday to Friday work week to manage assembly line production. Like that's something we made up that worked at the time, and it also relied on a bunch of assumptions. It assumed there's a primary breadwinner in a household, and that assumption relies on another assumption that there's somebody else managing the household. And if you have children, raising the children. So it assumes a breadwinner and a caregiver. Old assumption, and we designed a lot of things around that. So burnout, if we're experiencing burnout, most likely it's because we're trying to do cartwheels in a system that no longer works for us. It's actually a sign of friction. I think burnout is a design flaw. So if the single breadwinner relying on a caregiver for the same household, if that's not actually true anymore, it's because we're not creating systems of work that allow two breadwinners to participate in the work system at the same time, with other things around them to help with the child rearing and the caregiving responsibilities and that kind of thing. So we have to rethink a lot of the assumptions we made for how work worked at one time and say what works for us now. Burnout should be considered a design flaw worth investigating.
Burnout should be considered a design flaw worth investigating. Yeah, I love that. I love that thought. So when you think about what you do, like, as, one of the most successful people in the industry, you've started brands, you've built brands, you've started companies, you've worked in big companies, small companies, you've built your own brand successfully. You and I get the opportunity to work on an amazing community together called Now of Work. You work with Diverse Daisies, which is the nonprofit that you founded and led around, helping girls find their way. Like, what's the common thread? What's the common thread of all of that? I mean, I could be corny and say it's humanity, or I could be, I mean, maybe it's not corny, but like, there's got to be I think, mission is really important. And I think mission can cancel out burnout in a way where if you believe in a mission, or you believe in a concept, or believe in something so much that you're not going to burn out because it removes that friction that you talked about. You and I've never talked about this, but
No.
so like if you think about all of those things that you do, including being a mom, partner, et cetera, what's the common thread that would be the mission?
It's impact. I have said this before. I think the single biggest flex a person can have is how many lives you impact. And so I love the notion of community for that very reason. I could be Joan of Arc out on a single mission and, leading with a flag and being a rebel with a cause, without a cause. Like, that's not going to get me very far. I would burn out very fast if I considered myself an army of one, just trying to flip the table and rant about things that I don't like and try to make a fuss, and that I don't think that's very effective, and it would burn me out faster than it would create the impact I want to have. I believe very much in community building and creating systems of scale where one person can have a multiplier effect on people, how many people you're able to touch, but create a system that can extend further than your own individual reach alone. So when Kim Perry founded Diverse Daisies, actually about 12, 13 years ago, she kind of burned out. COVID was coming. She's a very successful corporate real estate professional. She had a side gig, and she said, I just can't do it anymore. I've just got too much. I've got to focus on some other things. And she was going to, sort of close the doors on Diverse Daisies. And I had been volunteering for the organization, helping her with community promotion and fundraising and that kind of thing for a number of years already. And she had a conversation with me, and I went home and I had the same conversation with my girls. I said, girls, Diverse Daisies might need to fizzle out. And my oldest at the time looked at me, well, my oldest at the time looked at me and said, Mom, you know what needs to happen. Those girls need you. Like, this is you now. And I
Wow.
said, like, pretty smart for a young girl. And I already knew that inside. Those girls need you. It could have been anybody. Those girls need this. And I was very clear about the fact that girls do need something. They need a champion. They need a trailblazer. They need to see it to believe it. They literally need mentorship. They need to go out and have the experiences and do the things and have access created for them. And I knew I was the right person to do that. I knew that my own girls could benefit from the organization. And I knew that I had a loud enough voice and just enough passion to make it go. So I think people ask me all the time, how do you have time to do all of this? Where do you find the energy? I don't find the energy, I find the passion. I already have the passion, and that creates.
So it goes back to that mission and passion piece. And I've also, Jess, I've heard you talk about this concept of optics to impact.
Mm.
Um, and like just reading it, I'm like, is that someone being fake versus real? But I'd love for you to expand on it a little bit. Like, what is it when you say that? Is it like the persona that you put out there
Yeah.
versus what you're actually doing? I know that you mentioned that you're sometimes a social media person, sometimes you're not. Like, I think you post a lot on social media, but you're probably not doing it for optics,
No.
based on what that quote, based on
I
that
don't
quote.
have, I don't have a fake bone in my body. So if I say something on social media, it's like a volcano that had to erupt for me. Like, I had something to say and I feel like it needs to be said, and I hope that it helps somebody. And I hope people use their platforms that way. Like, we don't have time for inauthenticity. We have all the need in the world for authentic voices speaking the truth and hoping to have positive impact on more people. Like, do that all day long. And in terms of optics, I have three daughters. They're now 16, 14, and about to be 13 this week. So I'll officially have a household of three teenage girls. And I became a single mom, a solo mom to them when they were very, very young. And I knew one thing at that time. I'm going to be the most important influence in their life. And right now, I'm choosing to set up a life and a household and a structure. Like, to me, it was all optics for them. What are they going to see? What are they going to understand about the world and their mom and women and growing up? And I'm the number one influence on that right now and for a while. And I think about that all the time, what girls see, what young people see. And I have, like, my main responsibility is to the human beings I'm responsible for, that I'm raising. And so when I started racing, for example, I did it for me, for sure. I was on a health transformation journey. I find physical fitness and racing in particular to be like the thrill of the
These
hunt.
are those like Rangar, whatever it's called, things you
Yes,
do. Yes.
yes. I mean, when I started getting my health back after years of infertility and then three kids in 5 years, like, I had to reclaim my health, and that was all about me being the healthiest version of me that I could be. But let's be honest, I'm competitive, the thrill of the chase, like the hunt for the medal. I love finish lines. I love destination racing, seeing beautiful scenery and experiencing it in a way a lot of people wouldn't, running it, like literally racing it. I started obstacle course racing, that's Spartan. Ragnar is long distance relay racing with a team. So that was for me, but it was also the optic. My girls grew up seeing their mom do incredible things. And it wasn't a selfish decision. Taking time to train was never a selfish decision. Again, back to multiplier effect. When I'm better, guess how many other people are better as a result of what I can do for them and what I can give to them and the impact that I'm having. So my girls have, like, believe they can do all of that too, or they see women doing that. And the best part is when I'm out on courses, I run alongside like 80-year-old women with white curly hair that are still out there doing stuff like that. I love the optic of what you can do if you put your mind to it.
So let's take that to leadership. Like, why do you think that leaders in commercial corporate settings can't do that? Or do you think that they do it, and it's just few and far between? Or the concept of a for-profit kind of impact isn't as wholesome as changing the life of young women? Like, what do you think? Like,
I think
because I'm listening to you and I'm like, wow, if you can do that outside of work, why can't you do that inside of work? And
yeah,
that's not saying you don't do it inside of work, but it's not pervasive by any means.
I think the mandate is different, unfortunately. I think
Is it because people don't believe in the mission?
a little bit. So I think there's a little bit of a, not a little bit, I think we're facing a massive leadership crisis. And we can break that down a number of ways. Number one, the span of control. Like we put a lot of pressure on, just think about everyday people managers, just middle managers in every organization.
You and me.
Yes, the
Yeah.
span of control, like what you're supposed to manage, and like literally like performance manage to the degree and to the KPI and to the, so the span of control is massive, but the enablement, like the actual tools and resources, support, training, enablement that we give those same leaders is minuscule. And so we give them so much that they're supposed to manage and so little foundational support to do it from. And then it's, again, I think the mandate is a little bit of a problem. We work for profit organizations with shareholders, and we watch stock prices, and we need to manage to profit. And so profit over people. I always think about like 3 Ps: people, purpose, and profit.
Love that.
I wish every circle, if we're going to do a Venn diagram, I wish every circle could 100% overlap. You should be able to pursue profit, but still prioritize people with purpose at the heart of your mission and values. We should be able to do that. But the balance, it's not a perfect Venn diagram. It doesn't overlap enough. And when you pursue profit over people and lose sight of purpose, back to burnout and back to trust issues.
So let's keep going on the P's.
Yes.
And throw it. I'm going to go back to a P that you used, polarizing. And we're not going to go to another P, politics, but we may touch on it.
Politics isn't a dirty word. I know that we treat it like that, and maybe it's a sign of the times we're in right now. It's not a dirty word. It's another system we rely on for infrastructure. That it's literally how the world runs in part. It's not a dirty word. It's just filthy right now.
I love that. I mean, I don't love that it's filthy right now, but I like the way you said that. So you've been fairly outspoken about everything related to DEI and your views about it, and the views that companies have taken, the where it sits today, let's take the E out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. With the work that you do I know you speak often to women's groups.
Yeah.
I know you speak you lead, with Gina Killey, a lot of the women in HR tech work, and with Diverse Daisies. Like, with what you're seeing with DEI today, are you worried about the future? Is this like just a hiccup in time? Like, with all of the progress that was made, where do you feel we're going? Or where do you feel we're at? And then what's next? Sorry, that's a tough question.
It's not tough. I think the best thinking and writing I've done on this is a Substack I wrote that says DEI was never the problem, it was the apology. So if you're
We'll put that in the show notes. Yeah, I completely agree. That was
like,
great.
I really thought, like, I did a little bit of a historical timeline for people, because I think, again, we need some backstory. Context really, really matters here. I talked about how we designed systems of work ages ago, decades ago, where there were breadwinners and caregivers, when, like, remember, women couldn't even hold credit cards in their own names just a few decades ago. So things aren't the same, but things were one way at one time, and we designed systems around that. And so when you look at the progression of affirmative action and DEI policies and equal opportunity councils and things like that, they were designed to level the playing field because it wasn't level. If you imagine a track field, if anybody's ever run track, everybody steps up to starting blocks, and you get in the starting blocks and the gun goes off and everybody takes off at the same time. DEI measures corrected the fact that starting blocks weren't even. The gun didn't go off at the same time for everybody. Everybody didn't take off evenly. That's because of inequity in the system at one time. And so you can't assume the same start line for everybody. That has never existed and still doesn't exist. We still have a pay gap. We still have opportunity, promotion, and succession gaps by, demographics. So you have to understand that it's not even. It hasn't been even yet. What do we do to correct that imbalance? That's what DEI and affirmative action attempted to do. You can't move to a meritocracy without that evenness existing. That would be fine. That would be a possibility if certain conditions were true, but they're not. And so when I went with the backlash of DEI and repealing affirmative action and defunding diversity programs and institutions, yes, it's problematic because you're making assumptions that aren't true, and so there will be disproportionate impact. We've gone backwards on how we measure equity and opportunity and that kind of thing. So back to system design, I feel like everything comes back to how you think about the systems we operate within to produce the right outcomes evenly for everybody. Equity and equality are not the same. Nobody's saying everybody's equal, everybody does the same thing, needs to make the same money for doing different jobs. Equitable outcomes are fair and balanced for who you are and what you do, assuming equal opportunity.
So giving advice to whether it be young leaders or companies, these mythical companies today, about what's still missing in DEI.
Yeah.
What do we do? Do we go back to quotas around hiring? Do we go back to counting heads? What's missing?
Everything. Data and design. This is data design. If you're hoping to produce outcomes, you want to achieve something, and these are the outcomes you're hoping to produce, it's a simple question. Does everybody have what they need to produce that to give that performance, to produce that outcome? Does everybody have what they need? Do you have a fair, equal shot to do this? Do you have the access, the opportunities, the channels? I've heard this analogy and it works. Equality, meaning all things being equal, would mean you give everybody in your organization a welder's mask. That's equal. Even if you only have one welder, everybody doesn't need a welder's mask. Equity is, do you have what you need to achieve the outcome or to produce the performance that
Male,
you
female, no matter
Yes.
what you are.
Yes, and
Who
that's
you are,
why
what you are.
caregivers might require flexibility, but if you're in a different age and stage of your life, you might not require the same flexibility. That's equity, not equality. That's an important understanding to have. And so if I'm a people leader and I'm trying to achieve certain goals in my business and with my workforce, I would try to deeply understand my workforce, the friction or challenges they might feel, the access, opportunities, rungs of the ladder they might need to perform at the highest level. And I would ask, what does everybody in my workforce need to achieve the outcomes we're going for? That gets
And the need might not be material things,
No.
right? I mean, the need might just be a voice.
Yes.
The need just might be, hey, when you show up on a leadership call, let's make sure not everyone looks the same.
Yes.
Talks the same. Like, the needs could be lots of different things that don't cost a lot of money even.
Completely. If I'm an early career person, I might require mentorship. If I'm somebody who's well developed in my career and managing a lot of responsibilities, I might need coaching, high executive coaching. Like, we all need different things to produce the performance that's expected of us. But from where we come from, the tools and resources we have, the access channels, opportunity, even just access to people in the organization isn't something that should be assumed. Do I understand the mission and goals of the company? Am I clear on the vision and how to execute? Depending on where I sit in the organization, that answer is very different. Maybe I just need communication. Maybe you need to set up teams and groups differently. Yeah.
So I love this conversation, Jess, because we've been talking for 30 minutes we didn't talk about HR, but we're talking about people.
Yes,
And
that's the whole point.
right, which I love. That's why I say I love that we've gone that far, and I want to keep going down that path. Another polarizing topic, because we could talk about the DEI topic all day long, but all of these go together, which is why I brought in the HR concept, is the impact of AI. And, once again, we went 30 minutes without using those two letters also, which is good. But when we think about impact of AI, you've also been pretty outspoken about worrying about equality when it comes to this and worrying about what it means to pay. And I'd love to just push on that a little bit because while there's a lot of people talking about is AI going to replace people, there's a lot of people saying, can AI automate tasks, et cetera, et cetera. I think there's the humanity part of the conversation that I don't hear enough of, and I don't know whose job it is, to be honest with you, to have it. But I love your take on it. So I don't know, maybe we can just riff on it for a second, and I'll
Yeah.
coach it a little along the way.
To be clear, I am pro AI, pro progress, pro innovation. If I
Have you been told you were not?
No, but I think some people wonder why I poke at it so much. I tell more cautionary tales, perhaps, than some people, because I think we're going to make a few mistakes before we get it right. And so, as pro transformation, supported and driven by AI, as I am and as I can possibly be, I think we have to say out loud to each other, AI is not a windfall. It's not free. Progress is not free. This is not a windfall of prosperity and progress that just comes to us. It is a trade exchange. This is a trade deal. This is a value exchange. I like to understand what we're giving up in exchange for progress and who is signing that contract on our behalf. Because I think, here's the deal. I've seen recent stats. I'm sure the number is changing all the time. Adoption of AI is like a train that left the station. Like 77% of employees say they're using AI in their workplace, but only 33% say that they've actually received formal guidance, training, education by their employer. Adoption and literacy are two different things. So everybody's we're going hog wild with all these cool new toys that have been given to us, seemingly for free. But what we're giving up is data. Do we understand what we're doing? Privacy, governance, ethical guidelines, regulation. And the other interesting thing, I listened to the Pivot podcast. If you guys are fans of Kara Swisher and Scott Galloway, heads up, it's Scot-free August. And
Yes,
it's
yes, I've heard that.
yes, and so Kara's having all these other guest co-hosts, and she had Mel Robbins last week. And this was the first time I heard this, but it doesn't surprise me. The number one use case of AI in 2025, do you know what it is, Jason?
Email?
I bet, no. I bet you do. This isn't going to surprise you either. The number one thing people are using AI for in 2025 is companionship and therapy.
Seriously?
In 2024, it was idea generation.
Wow.
So think about
That is
this.
deep. I mean, there's a lot of paths we could go down on that.
There's so many. So everybody's using it. Nobody's formally trained. The usage is far outpacing our guidelines, our guardrails, our data management, our privacy protection. So again, we're just like the train is so far out of the station, and we're not just using it for playful things anymore. Like help me redraft this email or change my tone or give me some ideas back or research something. That's a little bit safe and playful. Now we're using it for like super important things like mental health, human health outcomes, therapy, companionship, solving for, loneliness and isolation. Like, you guys, we have to know what we're doing with this stuff more than ever. And is there opportunity? Oh my gosh, in space. That's why we should care so
Yeah.
much about it. This is game changing, life changing, society altering, all of those things. So when I give AI a hard time, it's because I care a lot about managing to the right outcomes. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I'd love to see a new metric. Every corporation on the planet has ESG guidelines. We measure green energy, we measure environmental impact, we measure all of these things related to environmental and social responsibility. I'd love to see human impact measured as an
Wow.
outcome when it comes to AI usage, adoption, investment, and innovation, and define it. Are we positively impacting the way people live, work, communicate, interact? We have
But you're not, that's
to
not
hold each
just,
other accountable.
I just want to make sure I understand. So that's not just saying that we're protecting jobs because people are used to doing stuff the old way. We don't want to impact them, so we're going to keep doing things the old way, right?
Right.
That's not what you're saying.
No, that's such a like, oh, this like panic over job protection and job loss. Like that's really, I'm sorry, like short-sighted thinking. Stop rushing to protect jobs. Rush to protect people. Like we don't want to protect jobs the way they've always been done, the way they've always been designed. I step into an elevator and there's no elevator operator pushing the button for me. There's no gas lamp person filling street lamps with oil at night to turn on the like we don't need old jobs, old things. This is the Darwinism of work. We evolve and progress happens and innovation comes along and that's a good thing. I'm not going to build a fire with wood in this fireplace back here. I'm going to push a button if I want it to. That's a
Right.
good thing. We can all get excited about spell check and good things. And so this like panic over rushing to protect jobs, I get it, but it's the wrong way to look at it. Think about people. Think about the fallout that happens when we redesign work and systems of work and stop talking about talent shortages and skill gaps. Look at people and the work they should be doing and how you can support them and upskilling them for the future. Stop saying we don't have enough people to do all the work. You do. They're probably sitting right under your nose. Think about how to reinvent them for how work will and should look as you redesign it.
So I love that. Stop worrying about the jobs, worry about the people. And I'm teaching a class this semester, and one of the things that will be a requirement will be for the class to listen to this.
Mm.
And when you think about that, if you're a person, well, excuse me, you are a person, and you're thinking about your future, like, where do you put the lens? Like, what roles do you think are going to go away? The person filling the gas light, of course,
Yeah.
is not there. But what roles, like, and how do you think that's going to? I'm not doing a good job on this question. But when we're thinking about trying to advise young people, your daughters, my sons, kids, they're in college, like, is there still going to be a spot for people?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I would not try, like, we talk about anything, any job title that ends in analyst, data analyst, financial analyst, or any job title that ends in agent, customer service agent, benefits enrollment agent. Like, those jobs are going to be well supported by automation, if not fully agentized. Like we're going
So
to,
when you say, just be blunt. So
yes,
when you say well supported, that was your nice
if
way of
not fully
saying
replaced.
they're going
But
away.
but human oversight. I would not trust, if I'm a software developer, am I going to fully accept 100% of code as given to me by Gen AI? No, not if I'm smart. There's code audit. Like, you have to know the art of coding to actually look at, analyze, evaluate, and quality improve what it gives you. So, of course, there's still human oversight roles in all of the things that tech will eventually do for us. Um, and
So those analysts, those agents are going away.
yeah,
You didn't say it. I said that.
right.
So what will be the jobs? Like, will they be the people that check to see if the machine's doing the right work? Will it be people that are focusing more on how to build relationships with people? Like, if you had to reset your skill set
hmm
today, where would be the areas that you would focus?
So imagine a call center. The call center of the future might not be a call. And I worked in one. I was a telemarketer. One of my part-time jobs I had in college, because I worked my way through school. I was like the jack of all trades. I always had at least three
What
jobs
did you
at once.
sell?
What?
What were you selling?
Political fundraising.
Wow.
That was hard. If you've ever been a telemarketer doing political fundraising, you've been hung up on a few
Yeah, I
times.
was gonna say, when people, I would never hang up on you because I'd be afraid you'd be like behind me the next day with a knife. But when
And you
someone
never
hung up
knew.
on you,
You never knew either. You'd sit down for a shift and you'd be like, who am I calling for today? Or what campaign am I dialing for dollars for today? And sometimes I'd like do my own research, like, who is this person? And I always, sometimes you'd get a lonely old person who's just happy to be talking on the phone to a 20-year-old girl who was kind to them or whatever. What a job. What a job.
oh, sorry, I got us off track. If you
I
worked in the
realized, I
call
don't know if I
center,
ever told you I actually did telemarketing.
no, I can't imagine. But every day I learn something.
And I literally sat in this huge room, like this sprawling area of telemarketers with headsets on. Like, imagine a customer service or a call center department. That's a relic. Like, that's going to be archaic soon. We're going to have a bunch of, all of these customer service inquiries and call center needs and calling about the warranty on your I did that too, calling the warranty on your product or whatever and answering questions. Bots, this is all going to be, agentic workflows managing and routing these inquiries. But what are the jobs are there going to be customer service related jobs? For sure, somebody's got to design and manage that whole customer experience, including an opt-out, a bailout. I need a human, escalations and, I actually think human touched experiences are going to be more premium. Like, we're just going to have to reimagine what it is to deliver customer service and customer experience.
Architects of humanity at work.
Yes, somebody's got to architect the way all of this looks and operates and is managed and is quality controlled. So it's not that hospitality goes away. It looks different. It needs to be redesigned. It'll be
Oh, I've got so many questions and we don't have that much time. What do you think? Yeah, we'll do this again. What do you like? Do you think people can relearn? Or do you think that if I've been an analyst and you think I've been a agent and now those jobs are going away, as I said,
Mm.
what happens? I'm
Not ev-
unemployed.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody. We're going to have to handhold a little bit. I think we're going to have to incent some of this behavior. One of my favorite stories I tell when I talk about culture and change is Satya Nadella taking over at Microsoft. And he shifted that organization from what it was as a legacy hardware company and a know-it-all culture. He shifted their entire culture to a growth mindset and a learn-it-all culture. And now they're the cloud computing, AI, so, a
Yeah.
way different company than they used to be, from a know-it-all culture to a learn-it-all culture. And you had to create that and give space for that. He invented the hackathon, and gave space for idea generation. And it was, fail fast, but generate a lot of new ideas, and test and fail fast. That had to be a culture and permission that was given to allow people to do that and to move that way. Otherwise, without a sense of, number one, without time and space and resources and a sense of permission, people won't naturally be curious or naturally pursue innovative ideas if they think they'll just, meet a dead stop or, not go any further. So you have to create the culture and the time and resources for it, number one, and then you have to incent people and get them excited about learning and being curious and recreating and redesigning. I think my mom retired last year after 30 plus years as a direct patient care nurse. She had a lot
She
of.
better listen to this.
I know. And toward the end of her career, I asked her how's it going, how's work, and whatever, and she complained over learning this new computer system so she could check patients in to an online portal for virtual care visits with her provider. That was, as a direct patient care nurse, her entire life, literally walking floors, lifting patients, passing meds. That's what she loved, working directly with patients. This was horrible to her. I don't even see my provider every day. I like seeing my patients and putting my hands on them and my eyes. I need to assess them in person. This was a whole new world to her. But for her to shift her mindset, she had to get excited about the fact that more patients who had transportation issues, who had access and issues, more people were able to get more care and more services because of the way they were delivering it differently. She didn't want to learn a new software and work on a computer all day at all. But for her, it was a mindset shift.
Yeah, I think that mindset is the biggest thing in this. I think it's going to be the biggest thing. It's going to be the biggest struggle. It's going to be the biggest challenge. It's going to be the biggest. I use the word first, or the phrase first principles a lot. How do you cut things
Yeah.
back to the core? I think that's really, really. I think it's going to be the key to whether this works or not the technology.
Yeah.
Hey, I know we're almost out of time, but I want to just do a quick little lightning round of a few
Ooh,
things. Okay.
this has been
Couple
fun.
of, a couple of them I prepped you for, a couple of them I maybe didn't.
Okay.
So last week I was in India. I got a lot of grief for a quote. And I
Mm.
said 70% of companies are probably not going to exist in the next 10 years.
Mm.
What's your reaction to that? Just
True.
very quick.
Yeah, true. True. Not enough companies are reinventing themselves. Too many companies are bogged down. Even if they want to, they can't. They're too bogged down by infrastructure, by leadership structures. It takes too long to make decisions. It
So
takes.
you'll support me with all the grief
I'm
I'm
going to
getting
support you. Yep.
for making that
It's not
statement.
a scare tactic. It's just a reality.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what you said even about Satya Nadella's. They're not, people aren't making the space. Forget about reinventing. People aren't making that space to have those types of conversations.
Right. Yeah.
Number one skill for HR and HR technology leaders into the future.
I'm ready for that one. Can you believe it? I actually thought about this. I think it's translation.
Translation? You mean like from English to Spanish?
Concept translation.
I'm kidding.
I wanted to say data, design, deployment skills because I talk about that so much, but it's concept translation. Good HR is good marketing. You have to you have to bring people along. HR leaders understand business outcomes, vision, strategy. The business is their customer, but so is the workforce because the workforce is the product you deliver to the business. You shape the workforce, the way they work, the skills they need, the experiences they have, the tools they touch every single day. That's your product that you create
Yeah.
and deliver to the business to produce outcomes that you well understand. So now that everything, we've literally talk about the deck of cards, we just threw the deck of cards in the air and they're going to land we have to redesign and reshape almost everything if we're driving transformation, if we're going to be part of the 30% that makes it. So concept translation says, what do I understand now about where the business is going and how we're going to get there? And how do I rethink everything I've ever thought about when it comes to my HR tech stack, the workforce I'm shaping, how we even measure human performance in the
Yep.
workplace needs to change. So to me, it's concept translation, because then you have to add the storytelling layer, not just understanding the vision, but articulating the vision and the strategy and getting constant buy-in to lean into that change and
Yeah,
transformation.
and that's where I categorize as persuasion.
Yes.
If we take translation plus persuasion,
Yeah.
like that to me is a golden concept. I'm adding persuasion
I
to your
love it. I
conversation
love
piece.
it.
That probably equals something. We could probably come up with a formula.
Yeah.
One question that's very important when people are evaluating HR tech vendors.
Mm. Yeah, I stop vendors. So I get, one of the hats I get to wear at Mercer is helping solution providers in their value articulation, their product market fit, understanding their buyer and buyer persona. Like what problem are you actually solving? Don't tell me what you sell. What problem are you solving? And too many times, I love doing it's one of my favorite things I get to do, because it's all about storytelling. I love the art of storytelling. And I sit down for a briefing. I've done thousands of briefings. We have amazing technology providers in our space. It doesn't matter if you're a big established platform or if you're a pre-money startup. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody dives straight into the demo. Features, functionality, ROI story, and I time out. I stop them every single time and I say, I don't know what you believe. I don't know what belief system we're coming from here. Unless you start me on some foundational belief system. Here's what we believe about talent. Here's what we believe about development or performance or whatever. If I don't know what that starting point is, I could care less what I'm about to
That's a
see.
great way. That's a great
Doesn't
thing to
matter.
that concept of a belief system. I think that's a really important point. And
Like, we forget solution providers have a point. You should have a point of view and a belief system. You're not hawking product. You should understand something about the discipline you're serving and the problem you're solving. And it's okay to be bold in that belief system, because that makes me believe in your solution. Then you can give me all the reasons in the world to believe that you've got a solution, because now I understand where it's coming from and how you're going to build your roadmap accordingly.
yeah, no, I love that. Before we get to the last one, I just have to say that it has been a blessing and an honor to do what you and I do together for the last 10 plus years.
Hmm.
The mission, the community, the trying to move a market and things like that, it's the favorite part of what I do. So if I don't thank you enough, thank you for that, because I think it's really, really important. And I say that leading to this last question because I think our work is just beginning. I don't think it's anywhere near close to the end. I think it's just beginning. And
Agree.
that question is kind of like, if there's one word that defines the future of work for you, like
Mm.
one word, what would it be?
I, when I have similar conversations, I tend to lean on trust a lot, but to me, it's bigger than trust. It's about reciprocity. I think that we've got such a pivotal, and I hate buzzwords, but we really are. We're like this. I feel like everything we've been doing up until this point, Jason, has been leading up to this moment. Like, this is such a moment that I feel like,
And it does sound buzzwordy. Sorry to interrupt you. It sounds the Y2K, the
oh, I hate
COVID, the
it.
2008 market crash. This feels different.
It does feel different. We're already seeing how different it is. Like, have you ever seen anything else in your career in the last 100 years that literally has captured the attention of every single government leader, enterprise leader, program and policy administrator, higher education? Like, there has been nothing that has captured the attention, urgency, and investment of every institution on the planet like this moment right now. And so when I think about the future of work, I mean, honestly, the future of society and health and
Yeah.
our kids, it's reciprocity. What's the value exchange here? What are we hoping to improve about people and business and outcomes and how we live and measure our well-being? Like, what do we get? Like, what's the value exchange here? And that is a reciprocity moment because we're rewriting so many contracts, so many social contracts about what I give up in exchange for something that's better for me. So I think it really is. It's bigger than trust. Trust has to be foundational. It has to be there. I think the future of work is redefining reciprocity.
I love that. I love that. This is exactly why I wanted you here. This is exactly why I do this, because I learn. And now that's all I'm going to do is think about this for the rest of the day, is reciprocity and how that fits into this. So,
Now you see
hey,
why I needed a voice to record this.
yeah, exactly.
I needed
Well,
wind in my sails.
we get to do this every Friday together, so this is fun. But this was actually more fun for me because I get to deep dive into you, and kind of understand what makes the JVB the JVB, that has accomplished so much in this industry. So just thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it, and look forward to our next 10 plus years together and continuing the mission.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's a wrap on this episode of Now to Next. Time always goes so fast. I hope today's conversation sparked something new for you. An idea, a question, maybe a shift in how you see the road ahead. If you want to keep pushing from now to next, here's how we stay connected. Subscribe so you never miss the ideas shaping the future. Leave a review. Your feedback helps bring these conversations to even more future-minded leaders. Share this episode. Share with someone who's ready to create change alongside you. Join me beyond the mic. Follow me on Substack, a great resource. X at Jason Averbook, and LinkedIn, my name, Jason Averbook, for sneak peeks of upcoming guests as well as behind-the-scenes insights that I hope help you in your day and your life job. Thanks for listening, and remember, don't just watch the future happen. Step in, shape it, and lead it from now to next.